How could this happen?
Magic.
Really? Is there any other explanation? Maybe I'm going crazy. Am I going crazy? I'm getting ahead of myself. Today, on Admirable Animation, we're doing a Spongebob episode. You know, the series that I've already done 7 animated atrocities on, and I have at least a dozen more planned.
It ain't possible!
No. That doesn't quite describe the surrealness of all of this. It's a modern SpongeBob episode, as in after the movie, that's actually good. No, not just not the Splinter tolerable, but actually at the level that I would watch again and again. This particular episode is in my top 5 favorite SpongeBob episodes of all time. And it's a Season 6 episode. The season that started out by ripping off a toenail on House Fancy, and ended up by killing half of its fan base in Truth or Square, and giving us episodes like The Splinter, Boating Buddies, and Plankton's Regular in between. No. Not even that describes this particular scenario. Let's see the writers. One of the writers is Zeus Service, who I have dubbed the worst person currently working in the animation industry. And why shouldn't I? He gave us One Course Meal, Squid Baby, Face Freeze, Squid's Visit, and God knows how many other terrible episodes. And Casey Alexander? He's got a similar track record, also writing on many of those same episodes. And the third guy? I don't know much about him, but he didn't start working on SpongeBob until Season 4, so I don't think he's doing the show any favors. With that being said, before I go completely insane, let's take a look at Sandcastles in the Sand. Shall we? The episode starts with SpongeBob waking up Patrick, and I'm going to say this right now. Watching this episode for the very first time is like watching the most uncomfortable game of Pong ever played. For the first few minutes, it seems like it's going to go straight towards SpongeBob at its worst, but it jumps right back on track. Patrick rips off his skin, and you think it's going to go Splinter, but the joke works because it doesn't last long and doesn't show Patrick in pain.
Sure. Little sunscreen and I'm sure you'll be fine.
On the bus, Patrick and SpongeBob start tormenting the passengers, so you think that it's gonna go boating buddies. But when they start to sing, they get kicked off the bus. When they realize they've been ditched, they start crying, and you think it's gonna go a day without tears. But it only lasts a few seconds before they realize that they're at the beach already. They play Frisbee for a while, and end up tormenting the beachgoers. But once again, before the episode can go awry, the lifeguard yells at them, and tells them to do something a little less obnoxious. If only that happened in every SpongeBob episode ever. That guy, he is my favorite SpongeBob character, period. The lifeguard suggests that they play in the sand, so the two of them decide to build sandcastles. When SpongeBob sees Patrick's sorry mess of a castle, he decides to help and tells him to start over, crushing his castle. It looks like it's about to go stuck in the ringer.
Help! I think you've helped quite enough today.
But the episode goes back on track. Patrick gets architectural plans and pays the guy in sand money. Here's one of the strangest things about the episode. The gags actually work. Then Patrick destroys SpongeBob's castle, calling them even. SpongeBob draws a border, and then they begin building castles, which become more and more complex. Eventually Patrick builds over the border, and so SpongeBob destroys part of his castle. It looks like they are at war now. And here's where the episode gets good. Instead of just smashing the castle again, Patrick builds a sand sledgehammer and destroys SpongeBob's castle. SpongeBob promises to have no more destruction, and then he builds a real castle. Like a real, legit castle. As does Patrick. As you can see, this episode is really going to use the medium of animation to its advantage, and it's going to give us some really cool visuals. Since they're making random stuff out of sand, they can pretty much do anything. And before you complain about the absurdity, it's always been a part of SpongeBob, even in the beginning. SpongeBob tries to get Patrick to sign a treaty. He does, but immediately doesn't follow it. Is Patrick a bit of a jerk in this episode? What, compared to Stuck in the Ringer or the Card? I don't think so. SpongeBob smashed his castle, so he has the right to fight back. Besides, the episode does make it known that it's all in good fun. They're just really into their game. Then it looks like the battle has truly begun. Patrick has built a whole cavalry, and SpongeBob destroys it with a catapult. Then SpongeBob sends his own army of a knight, a football player, a cowboy, and a rock star. Interesting choices. They break into Patrick's castle and...
Oh, hello, and goodbye.
Hey, that line is way too awesome to have any right to be in a modern SpongeBob episode. Of course, hiding in the castle doesn't faze the cannonball, since it follows cartoon logic. And no, I'm not complaining about it. It's a joke that works. Speaking of things that work, have you noticed how good the actual animation of modern SpongeBob is? I mean, it's hard to see with all that other crap we've dealt with, but the actual animation quality in this episode is amazing. SpongeBob goes into a planning room where he talks to his sand general. And yes, it is funny how actually into it they are. SpongeBob breaks out of his castle with a tank, and Patrick breaks out of his castle with a robot. A tank versus a robot. How could you not make this awesome? Patrick picks up the tank, and SpongeBob blasts him. It looks like that took out Patrick, but it was really a fake-out. The robot's head flies into the sky. SpongeBob falls and parachutes himself into a fighter jet. He fires some missiles after Patrick, and then the people start panicking. Patrick also launches missiles from a hidden anti-aircraft turret. They blow up SpongeBob's missiles and fly straight for him. I've also got to say, they got the soundtrack of this episode right too. The missiles blow up Patrick's castle, so Patrick fucking nukes SpongeBob's. With nothing left to live for, SpongeBob kamikazes Patrick. No, I'm just kidding. That wasn't the end. Wish it was. I guess that's the only bad thing I could say about the episode. It's not the series finale. The two of them actually realize that they went too far, and get told by the lifeguard to clean up their mess. So they have a cleaning competition, showing that old habits die hard. In a common modern SpongeBob episode, that would have been a slap in the face. Here, it kinda works. So once again, have I gone fucking crazy? If I haven't, and this isn't really just a delusion, what have we learned? That even one of the worst cartoons airing today actually has a shot at not only being as good as it once was, but it can be better? Honestly, barring Band Geeks, this is probably my favorite episode. Writers of SpongeBob, and I guess to everyone, do you see what you can do when you actually try? Even after spectacular failure upon spectacular failure, you could still pull off something like this. As for these three, it's the Charlotte Fullerton effect. If a writer produces one gem under the exact same circumstances, then they lose pretty much all excuse to write crap. Then again, maybe it's this particular team up. You know, each of them are keeping each other in line. What else has this particular team done? Oh, for the love of...